It's time for the first mock draft of 2025 here on PatsCast.
Trade it down, stack that draft, build it strong from front to back. Don't need flash when you got a plan.
Welcome to PatsCast. I'm Brad Whitaker. Good to be with you. You know, I've been resisting the temptation all year long to do a mock draft because it's kind of pointless up until the final weeks before the draft. Names are just thrown around all over the place. People thought Quinn Ewers would be a top quarterback in this draft, 9-10 months ago. So a lot can change. People are already doing mock drafts for 2026 at this point, but I'm going to bite finally now, just about 3 weeks away from the 2025 NFL draft, and I'm going under the predicted scenario that Travis Hunter nor Abdul Carter are available for the Patriots at 4th overall. Both of those guys are snagged at 2 and 3, respectively, by the Cleveland Browns and the New York Giants. So the Patriots are at 4th overall. The guy that they want to select probably can be taken a few picks later. So they want to trade back. They want to trade back just a little bit, though, so they can get the guy that's at the top of their board. So here's what I have happening, and this has been floated around quite a bit across Boston sports media, across national news media over the last few days. The Patriots will trade the 4th overall pick to the New Orleans Saints for the 9th overall pick and the 40th overall pick. So early to mid second round. That's what the Patriots are gaining there by trading back 5 spots from 4th overall to 9th overall. Now, in order for this to happen, the New Orleans Saints need an incentive to make the trade. They obviously they would make this trade so they could draft and develop their future quarterback in Shedeur Sanders. So he can't fall to 9, right? Otherwise, New Orleans is not going to make this trade. They're just going to stick and pick at number 9 and take Shedeur Sanders there. So we as Patriots fans, the media, all need to start hyping up the Las Vegas Raiders and the New York Jets and maybe another potential trade partner later in the draft that could trade up and leapfrog the New Orleans Saints and take the Patriots pick at 4th overall and take Shedeur Sanders. That's what needs to be hyped up in order for this to happen. So you'd say the Raiders are interested in trading up, the Jets are interested in trading up, or they're interested in picking Shedeur Sanders. The Saints go, look, we don't know what to do. Derek Carr is not a long-term solution at this point. We need to go and get our quarterback now. Otherwise, we can get maybe Ted McMillan at 9th overall, but how much help is that ultimately going to be when you don't have the quarterback of the future to throw it to him? I think they are eyeing Shedeur Sanders. I think they'd be heavily interested in this deal. And again, they only have to give up their 2nd round pick to get their quarterback of the future and a guy that they could actually have sit for a little bit and learn and become the starter. Patriots at the end of the day need at least 2 reasonable trade-up partners ready to go in case Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter are off the board at 4th overall, and just have those 2 bidding for that spot. And here I have the New Orleans Saints moving up to 4th overall, and the Patriots moving back to number 9. So they get number 9th. They still have 38th overall in the 2nd round. They add 40th overall, just 2 picks later, in the 2nd round. And then don't forget, the Patriots have 2 third-round picks, 69th overall, their regular draft pick, and 77th overall, which is what they got from the Atlanta Falcons, trading Matthew Judon, which looks better and better every day. So let's go through these draft picks. Again, not focusing on the 4th round and beyond. These 5 draft picks that the Patriots have, now that they're at 9th overall, trading back, 38th overall, 40th overall that they added, 69th overall, and at 77. So with the 9th overall pick, the New England Patriots select left tackle Will Campbell out of Louisiana State University. Now, I would feel so much better about the Patriots drafting their future left tackle or left guard at number 9 than at 4th overall. And a lot of people disagree. I think I heard Evan Lazar and company with Patriots.com saying they disagree with this move, that not only will Will Campbell be taken before number 9, but Armin Membu may be taken before number 9, and then the Patriots can't really take a tackle there unless they want to reach for a Connerly or a Josh Simmons or a Kelvin Banks or something. But I heavily disagree with that. I just do not see both of those tackles being off the board at number 9th overall. So let's go through that. 4th overall would be the New Orleans Saints. They're taking Shedeur Sanders there if they make this trade. 5th overall, pretty much every mock draft that I'm seeing at this point has Mason Graham, the defensive tackle from Michigan, going to the Jaguars. Could they pick someone else? Potentially, but I just have not seen it. And then similarly, Ashton Genty, there's a lot of smoke there of him going to the Las Vegas Raiders at 6th overall. The team that I probably worry about the most is the New York Jets at 7th overall, them drafting a left tackle. They haven't re-signed Tyron Smith. Morgan Moses is gone. But the Jets could also be eyeing a quarterback, a Jackson Dart, who's been moving up a lot of the mock draft boards. It's not obvious that they would take a tackle there, but they're probably the biggest concern. And then you have Carolina at number 8. Could they take a tackle? Potentially, but they have a ton of needs. They have needs at edge, at defensive tackle. They tried to get Milton Williams, and the Patriots plucked him away. At cornerback, at wide receiver, at tight end, at running back. So yeah, all of those positions are probably going to trump tackle, which is one of the most important positions on the field. They're just greater needs for the Panthers at the moment. So I don't see the Panthers taking a tackle there. So really the only team I'm worried about is the New York Jets. And let's say they take Will Campbell. If they do, Armin Membu is a more than solid backup choice. But in this simulator, I did do the Pro Football Focus simulator for this so I could get accurate players that would be available. Will Campbell is available, and the Jets actually ended up taking Armin Membu, who was off the board. And I think Armin Membu is a better fit for the Jets. So I still have Will Campbell falling to the Patriots in 9th overall, but you can interchange those guys, Campbell or Membu. But with Campbell, the Patriots get someone who can start and be a serviceable left tackle right away. Maybe he's not a long-term left tackle, right? But still would be a massive upgrade from Vidarian Lowe or trying to pigeonhole Caden Wallace at left tackle when in reality, he's a right tackle. Keep him at right tackle. Let him learn from Morgan Moses for a couple years, and then maybe he could start at that position down the road, and then just keep Will Campbell at left tackle. And if he doesn't excel there after his rookie year, kick him over to left guard in year 2, like the Washington Commanders did this past year with who they drafted at left tackle, and then you address left tackle again in the next offseason. That's not ideal, but that's still a massive upgrade from having Vidarian Lowe out there or trying to figure it out with a banged up year 2 Caden Wallace. You got to take Will Campbell, and I think if you trade back 5 spots, he's still going to be available at 9th overall. And he does seem like a Mike Vrabel guy, right? Biggest need for the Patriots, and a guy who really has a chip on his shoulder, especially with all the talk about his small, or really in reality, below average arms for an NFL left tackle. So let's move on to the second round now. So no Patriots trading back into the late first round, as we've seen in many, many mock drafts. That really only happens, in my opinion, if the Patriots haven't addressed tackle with their first pick in the first round, right? If they address tackle, they've got all their positions in need filled, right? They got Stephon Diggs in free agency. They should still look for a wide receiver, but got that filled, and they got their starting left tackle. But between those two spots, which are you more comfortable, right? If you got Will Campbell in the first round, you're probably going to want to address receiver one more time, and that's what I have them doing here. At 38th overall, the New England Patriots select Luther Burden III, wide receiver out of the University of Missouri. Now, this guy is 6 foot tall, but plays a lot bigger at 206 pounds. Explosive first step, has the ability to instantly create separation, get open quickly in the short game, which we know Josh McDaniels would love. Decent speed, a 4.4 40-yard dash. And because of his strength and his wider frame, he can bounce off defenders and become a real yards after catch guy, which we know was very important, at least for the Patriots of 20 years that won all those Super Bowls. Natural hands catcher. He's able to pluck the ball away from defenders. Had an 86% catch rate at Missouri this past year, despite having a ton of targets as their number 1 wide receiver. Good ball tracking ability. Able to extend the defense because of his ability to adjust the vertical targets while maintaining his speed. He doesn't slow down when he looks up. He's also a physical blocker, which is something I know Josh McDaniels and certainly Mike Vrabel would appreciate. He's not going to take plays off that he's not involved in. Can also be a special teams guy, has the potential of being a real elite punt returner, and a good addition with Marcus Jones out there. So sounds great on paper, right? So why is he not a first rounder in all likelihood? Well, he's undersized for his style of play, right? 6 foot is decent for a wide receiver, but the way he plays, maybe a little bit undersized. Route tree needs to be refined. Decent speed, but not elite at 4.4. Also, the biggest red flag is he's a bit of a diva. So there is that, and that's the number one reason why the Patriots might not draft him. He appeared to give up on the game in Missouri's loss to Alabama this past season. But look, there's always going to be trade-offs with any draft pick. You know, Stephon Diggs has a bit of a reputation as a diva as well. That didn't stop them from bringing him in. This guy is a hard worker with a similar reputation to that. And I think the trade-offs are worth it. And they're worth it for them taking Luther Burden, one of the top receivers in this draft, at 38th overall. Now, is he going to be your prototypical boundary X wide receiver at 6 feet tall, 206 pounds? Probably not. But he might be able to fit that role in Josh McDaniels' offense, which, as we know, just moves players around all over the place. There is no solid number one boundary X in that offense. They're going to be moving players around, and I think Luther Burden is kind of that missing piece that they need there. There's been a lot of comps between him and Deebo Samuel, so he has the potential to be a gadget guy like Josh McDaniels did in 2018 with Cordero Patterson. The Patriots won the Super Bowl that year. He can still be a traditional receiver, plus a very good punt returner. So I have Luther Burden going to the Patriots as their first and only pick in the second round. And now let's move on. I take it back. Their second pick in the second round I'm moving on to now because that's what the Patriots acquired, trading back with the New Orleans Saints. So moving on, 2 picks later, 38th overall, they took a wide receiver, Luther Burden III. They took Will Campbell, still was available at 9th overall. So you've addressed tackle, you've addressed wide receiver. We're not going to worry about receiver anymore. Patriots, 40th overall, they select Tre'veyon Henderson, running back out of Ohio State University. The Ohio State University. So first of all, we know Vrabel's connection with the Ohio State. We know how much his offense was dependent on having a strong running back in Tennessee with Derrick Henry. With this extra pick, Vrabel gets his running back of the future in a very deep running back draft. This is a deep draft at 2 positions, running back and tight end. Not very good at the other positions, but you can find potentially first-round guys in the second or third round at both positions. And I think Tre'veyon Henderson in other drafts might be a first-round guy, but he plays running back, right? Which is not a premium position these days. But he has the talent to really be a number one workhorse running back, has all the tools to do that. And that means you can put him in various roles as a rookie before you're ready to ultimately hand the reins over to him. I think he fits really well as a third down back initially, and a guy that can provide rest for Ramondre Stevenson and Antonio Gibson. And frankly, I don't know if one of those guys will be gone, Ramondre Stevenson or Antonio Gibson. You know, I think Stevenson has had a couple of down years. We know the fumble issues last year. Gibson looked like the better back at the end of last season. Zeke looked like the better back compared to Stevenson the year before. So maybe they would want to stick with Gibson and deal Stevenson somewhere else, who's still known as one of the better running backs around the league. That's another reason to take Tre'veyon Henderson. But in this scenario, I have those guys staying there. He's being brought in as a third back that's eventually going to take over the lead back role, probably in his second year, but really serve as a strong third down back and a workhorse guy if you need to give rest to Stevenson or Gibson or if they go down with injuries. We know Robert Kraft in the owners' meetings, he expressed he'd love to see the Patriots add a speed running back for what that's worth. But we know this is probably a priority for Mike Vrabel with his style of play in Tennessee. Now, I don't think we're going to see the same offense that we saw in Tennessee with Josh McDaniels. Now the Patriots have a real quarterback in Drake May, who's certainly better than Ryan Tannehill. But that doesn't mean the position is not going to be important to Vrabel. I still think it's very important. Now, he is a smaller running back, 5'10", 202 pounds. I guess that's more average size running back. which is why I think he's a solid fit as a third down back, at least initially. But look, guy has elite burst and acceleration, ran a 4.43 40, which puts him in the 87th percentile of running backs in this class. His vertical and broad jump put him above the 90th percentile. He's a patient runner, Le'Veon Bell style, waits for blockers to create lanes in front of him. Natural pass protector, which is really important despite his size. Also important if you want him in as a third down potential pass catching back. You need a good blocker in there, and somehow James White could do it at 5'7", 5'8". This guy's an even better blocker and has more size to him. And like I said, third down back, he can be a pass catcher, has reliable hands in the passing game, averaged over 11 yards per reception this past year. So why is he not a first-round running back? Well, biggest weakness is he had injuries in 2022 and 2023 that's going to question his durability as a lead back in the NFL. He's also a good blocker, as I said, but his frame has limitations against larger rushers. That's always going to exist, at least with third down running backs. But you know, he is more than a third down back. I'm just saying you could put him in that role as a rookie. Also, his route tree is very basic, so that could be improved on. But you know, considering you have two solid veterans in the running back room, I will take these trade-offs of those weaknesses, the durability concerns, for a running back with just an enormously high ceiling. That could be your starter of the future. Let him play a third down role, a backup role in year one, and then just have him take over as your workhorse running back in year two. Sounds like a great plan for a new head coach like Mike Vrabel. And by making this move, the Patriots trading back from 5th to 9th, still getting their starting left tackle in Will Campbell, at least according to PFF's mock draft simulator, adding a wide receiver in Luther Burden, and then they have an extra pick. You can use it on a position that's not a huge need, that can also greatly improve your team, like running back, and that's why I have them taking Tre'veyon Henderson at 40th overall out of Ohio State. Very good player. Would be really exciting to see how this offense would improve with these picks. So now let's move on to the third round. Patriots have two draft picks in the third round. The regular pick at 69th overall, and then 77th overall, which they acquired from the Falcons in the Matthew Judon trade. Let's start with 69th overall. Patriots select Elijah Arroyo, tight end out of the University of Miami. Patriots need a longer-term solution at tight end. We know they have Hunter Henry. He's not necessarily a long-term solution, even if he has a few good years left in him. Austin Hooper, glad they brought him back, but he's nothing more than a bridge guy at this point. And then you have Jaheim Bell, right, who is basically a hybrid halfback tight end, doesn't really fit as a traditional tight end. So I think they're going to need to address tight end in this draft. And as I said, this is a very deep draft at that position. And Elijah Arroyo, I'm seeing a ton of parallels between him and Rob Gronkowski. That doesn't mean he's going to be Rob Gronkowski, but there are a ton of career parallels between the two. Now, he's about an inch shorter than Gronk, but overall, very similar height, very similar frame, weighs about the same. I think he's about 15 pounds less than Gronk was at the end of his career, so basically a similar size tight end. And, you know, had offers from every blue blood college program as a high schooler, heavily recruited five-star player, had a tremendous freshman season at Miami, and then played only 8 games total as both a sophomore and a junior battling knee injuries. Then came back as a senior, started all 13 games, racked up 600 yards, 35 catches, and 7 touchdowns, and that's part of the reason he's considered one of the top tight ends in this draft. But the reason he's not a first-round tight end is durability is a massive concern, as it was for Rob Gronkowski, and that was the reason he was not a top 10 NFL draft pick. And that's the reason Gronk ultimately slipped to where the Patriots were able to select him. So, durability, a huge concern. That's why he'll likely be a third rounder. But other than that, there aren't any other major weaknesses, just minor things like his blocking technique could use some improvement. His route breaks could be sharper. There's also a small sample size with all the injury concerns in the games he missed as a sophomore and junior. But if you can keep him healthy, he has the potential to be a true star tight end in the NFL. Savvy route manipulator, natural hands catcher who plucks the ball away from his body at the last split second so the defender doesn't know it's coming. Gronk was really great at doing that late in his career. 4.69 40, which is fast enough to stretch the field as a tight end. But he looks faster than that on film. His acceleration is deceptively fast. He has veteran awareness in terms of finding soft spots in zone coverage. And he can act as a blocking tight end too. He's willing to be that guy, had a ton of improvement in that area in 2024, comes off the ball with proper pad level. I know tight end is not circled as a major need for the Patriots, but as I've said, we've already addressed tackle and receiver, and it's going to be a sneaky need at some point with all you got is Hunter Henry, Austin Hooper's not long-term, Jaheim Bell is not a traditional tight end. I think you have an opportunity here to take a very good first, second round talent in the third round because of his injury concerns, a guy with very similar traits to Gronk that can be a good pass-catching tight end that can also block and is improving a lot in that area. This guy can do a lot and really learn from a guy like Hunter Henry, from a veteran like Austin Hooper, and eventually become your number one tight end, perhaps in year 2 and year 3. Really excited about this pick. I was glad he was available in the Pro Football Focus mock draft simulator. So, Elijah Arroyo going to the Patriots at 69th overall. So I'll get to the last pick in the third round for the Patriots in just a moment. But first, let's do a recap. Patriots trade back from 4th overall to 9th overall. They take Will Campbell, who is still available at left tackle out of LSU. They grab a receiver with their first pick in the second round, Luther Burden III out of the University of Missouri, a guy who can potentially be a boundary X wide receiver in Josh McDaniels' offense. Then with the extra pick that they picked up, trading back with the New Orleans Saints, they get the Saints' second round pick and select Tre'veyon Henderson, one of the better running backs in this draft, out of Ohio State, who can be a third round back right away and eventually your long-term workhorse back. And then in the third round, early in the third round, the Patriots select Elijah Arroyo, tight end out of the University of Miami, guy with durability concerns, but with real first-round talent, and someone that can learn from guys like Hunter Henry, Austin Hooper, but still make an immediate impact and make a really strong long-term impact. So now we're at 77th overall, the pick acquired from the Atlanta Falcons in the Matthew Judon trade. The New England Patriots select Ozzie Trapilo, tackle out of Boston College. Now, I've talked about Trapilo on this podcast before, so not going to dig too deep into it, but Patriots are double dipping at tackle here. You can never have enough, at least in the situation that they're in right now. Morgan Moses, certainly not a long-term solution at right tackle. They have no solution right now at left tackle, which they addressed with the selection of Will Campbell. Ozzie Trapilo can play on the left side. He can play on the right side. You can put him at guard or center if you want, and that's what Bill O'Brien, Boston College head coach, said in his interview during the Boston College Pro Day. Guy is huge, 6'8", 316 pounds, and a good locker room guy, a hard worker, massive frame, vice grip hands, high football IQ, very consistent stats. Gave up just 1 sack as a senior, no sacks as a junior. Was very durable. Started every game as a junior and a senior. Primarily was a right tackle at Boston College, which is where I would probably put him with this selection, but has some left tackle experience, and as Bill O'Brien said, is willing to play any position that you put him at. He's going to listen to the head coach and do what you want, just with the connection between Vrabel and Bill O'Brien, who are best friends, and the proximity between Boston College and Foxborough, and the fact that the Patriots have had conversations with Trapilo, and they're heavily recruiting the guy. I think Patriots are ultimately going to take him, whether it's in the third round or if he's available somewhere in the fourth round. But I think since they're eyeing him already in this scenario where they get an extra draft pick, they don't want to take the risk of losing out on Trapilo and waiting until the fourth round. They take him in the middle of the third round. And that's what I have the Patriots doing. But let me know if you disagree and you want to see them do something else. If you have the Patriots trading back, what do you see them doing instead? Whether it's with the Saints or the Raiders or another quarterback-needy team. Are you happy with these selections? Will Campbell, Luther Burden, Tre'veyon Henderson, Elijah Arroyo, and Ozzie Trapilo. You're addressing nothing but offense, but they did pretty much nothing but defense in free agency. Similar to last year's draft, I do think the Patriots are going to mainly focus on offense. But hey, if you're watching on YouTube, let me know if you have a different thought in the comments below. And if you're watching, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, hit that notification bell, or subscribe if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. As I mentioned, NFL Draft roughly 3 weeks away now. We'll be back with lots of New England Patriots coverage, maybe a few more mock drafts between now and then.
Number 4 on the board, we ain't settling in. Gotta play the game if you wanna win. Phone rings from New Orleans, deals on the line. Give us 9 and 40 and the future's mine. They want Sanders, won't fall past 8, so we crank up the noise and control the bait. Vegas, New York, yeah, we float that bluff. Make it look real, make them sweat enough. Trade it down, stack that draft, build it strong from front to back. Don't need flash when you got a plan. We're building a roster, not just one man. Stick and pick, nah, that ain't it. This is a rebuild that's built to hit. Pick number 9, Will Campbell's name. Anchor the line, change the game. Start him at tackle, kick him to guard. Either way, he's coming hard. Can't let low hold the edge no more. This kid's a mauler with room to soar. Solid floor and a sky-high rise. A blue-collar beast in a Patriots disguise. At 38, it's burden shot. He needs some work, but the motor's hot. After catch machine with a thick frame. Debo comps ain't just for fame. Fast enough, tough as hell. Special teams ace and a gadget as well. Small hands, some diva talk, but this league don't care if you walk the walk. Trade it down, stack that draft. No shortcuts down this path. Tackle, receiver, run game threat, and we ain't even started yet. Stick and pick, that's playing scared. We're loading clips and going prepared. Henderson's through the door, burst like fire, patience galore. A third down back at the start of the year, but he'll be leading the charge next time we steer. Buckeye blood, V-Rabel knows that grind. A back with hands, vision and time. Yeah, there's risk, injuries cloud the light, but backs like this don't last past night. We roll the dice, a Miami tight end future looks nice. Gronk vibes, just gotta stay sound. If he holds up, we found our crown. Savvy hands, knows the zones, plucks it late, he's grown man grown. Tight end ain't urgent, but don't be blind. With one hit away from falling behind. Trade it down, build it deep. Draft like wolves, don't follow sheep. We ain't here to chase the fame, we're here to change for Drake May. Stick and pick, that's the past. We're building something built to last. So roll the dice and play it slick. This is better than stick and pick.